So we expect the finite propagator obey similar equation as we encountered last hour. So let me write this K, I put a superscript A here to indicate that this K is the full propagator. That is when the Dirac particle is under the influence of a background electromagnetic field. Okay? So this is the full vector. And this is the field strength. Field strength density. Question about the equation for K21. K21 must obey this equation. And I will come to the full equation because, okay, the tricky part is now the wave function is a multi-component wave function. It is a matrix. So you can see that the K will be also a matrix, a 4x4 matrix. Should be a 4x4 matrix to serve its purpose, to serve its function. And so roughly speaking, we expect psi 2 is something like K21, psi 1, right? We expect formula like this. But we need to be more careful about this expression. I will come to that. But let's define K in this way. You can say that this is the defining equation for K. Is that okay? And I also, similar to what we had in the Schrödinger case, we also define a free propagator for Dirac particle. Let me write it as before, like K0, K0 to 1. Right? And similarly, I would like to write down the integral equation obeyed by K21. So, let me just write it down. Right? A. So this is the corresponding integral equation for this differential equation. And the proof just as before, it's easy. Use this operator to operate on the left-hand side. And this operator operates on this. This operator operating on this will give you delta function. It operating on K0 will give you delta function of delta 2, 3. And then you integrate over x3, it will be EA2, K21, and then you can So we can similarly have a productive solution to K21, Ka21. So Ka21 productivity is just this expression. So this is K021 plus minus I K023 EA slash 2 EA slash 3, sorry, K031 X3 plus minus I squared K023 EA3 EA slash 3 K034 EA slash 4 K041 DX4 DX3 and so on and so forth, right? Just as before. If you show this equation to non-physicists or even to first year physics student, freshman, physics freshman, it will be awfully complicated. But now, of course, you know that you can write it down without any difficulty, right? Because you know the concept behind it, you know the idea behind it. And similarly, you will have, right? You interpret this. Any question? Okay, so the trick to obtain the full Feynman propagator will be to first begin with the free propagator, right? And so the main task would be to obtain, to get that object, K021, the free propagator. So it is this equation we want to solve for K021. Now, following our previous discussion, you might think K021 is equal to what? Just as before, right? You might think it is maybe more complicated because the wave function is a matrix and the K itself will also be a matrix. But aside from that, this is the formula to use, right? So let's see. For example, let's look at this term. Let's look at this term. So let me erase this. So, a straightforward solution or a naive guess. Let me pause. This is not trivial, but also not difficult because of our experience with the Schrödinger equation. Any question? So everybody agreed that if you were Feynman, you would write that down, right? More than half a century ago, right? You would say that this is the propagator that I should use, right? And Feynman did write that down. But he immediately realized that there are difficulties with that choice. Why? So suppose that let's look at this. So this is from 1 to 2, 1 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2. So a Dirac particle moves from 1 to 4. So suppose that it begins with positive energy, right? Electron. Let's worry about electron first. Although I already told you about the existence of positrons last time. But let's say that I want to understand how electrons move from 1 to 2. Mathematical. Okay. We know that a particle has no path, right? That's the Nobel Prize for this year, right? The puzzle or the intriguing quantum mechanics. A particle has no path, according to the so-called Copenhagen interpretation. But I already said that this straight line represents a mathematical expression only. Okay. It does not indicate anything about how a particle moves from 1 to 4. Anyway, so a particle leaves 1 and goes to 4, and then got kicked by, for example, got influenced by, I shall say, influenced by a electromagnetic field. So let me just to indicate that an A slash is at work at 4. So this is 4. And because sometimes we use wavy line to indicate electromagnetic field, right? So let me just to indicate the action, the influence of A. Okay, I put a wavy line here. And again, the electromagnetic field influence the particle again at space-time point 3, and the particle moves from 3 to 2. Right? That's how we interpret this term. Now, here we use K0, 3, 4, right? Now, suppose that we use this propagator, this formula for the free propagator, then it will happen. So the following thing will happen. That is, an electron moves from 1 to 4. got influenced by A. And then it will move to 3, but K0 carry the particle from 4 to 3 in all intermediate states, including negative energy state. So this is both En greater than 0 and En less than 0, right? This phi is the solution that we have spent quite some time on in the last 2 weeks. So this, the phi n is the solution. Our solutions of free Dirac equation. We have actually, maybe we may have spent too much time on this, but we know what that is inside out, right? Explicitly, we know that what that is. You have U1, U2, V1, V2, remember? So the so-called will be U1, U2, V1, V2. I should say U1 N, UN1, UN2, VN1, VN2, whatever. Okay. Whatever. Difficult to specify phi n rigorously, but you know what I'm talking about. So. Don't confuse 1 with n. Okay, that's okay, right? You will not be confused, right? Maybe I should say U1 of n, that's better, because n may be specified by momentum and speed, right? So remember that we wrote before, like UI, PS, right? And you may say that this is the parameter n. Okay, so if we use this for our free propagator, then it is possible for a positive energy Dirac particle, that is just a usual electron, moves into negative energy, right? Because it got influenced by A here, got kicked and fall into or moves into a negative energy state. But as we know, Dirac said that the negative energy state are already filled, right? The Dirac are already filled up. He needs that because if you can move into the negative energy state, then I mean the theory is nonsense. It is unstable, right? You have no ground state. So in Dirac theory, there is no way that an electron will move into negative energy state, which is allowed if we choose such expression for K0 to 1. Do I make myself clear? Most important. So this is not good. This is not okay, because it violates Dirac's theory.
Could you say that?
A particle come here, got kicked by the electromagnetic field, and from here to there, you need to include negative energy state. So you say that a positive energy electron get here and they got kicked by the background electromagnetic field into negative energy state. Of course, it will also move to positive energy state. But since you need to include all the energy states, positive and negative energy, but this negative energy part is obviously forbidden by Dirac's theory. Dirac said that all the negative energy states are already field, right? It's, right. It is very simple, right? So if we use this expression for free propagator, then it violates Dirac theory. So let me write it out. Okay. So let me write this as K0 bar. Let me write it K0 bar. So define, this is the definition. Okay. A naive case would be K0 to 1 is equal to K0 bar, which is defined by this expression. So if K043 is equal to K043 bar, that is a specific solution to the equation that K0 is expected to obey. Actually, what I'm going to write down here, I borrow from Feynman's paper. Anybody already has pre-studied Feynman's paper that I encourage you to do? Who haven't done so, raise your hand. That is, you have not looked at either Feynman's paper, the so-called, title, The Theory of Positons, or his book, Quantum Electrodynamics. Anybody who has not even looked at it, raise your hand. That's okay, I just want to know that you know nothing about it. Okay. Anybody has looked at what I recommend? No one? Okay. So Feynman said that if then an electron can scatter into energy, negative energy state. But Dirac said that is not okay. I'm paraphrasing Feynman's words. So you have doubt about what I mean here. Read Feynman's paper. He really used plain English. I'm also behind time. I'm too slow. We don't need to rush, right? Because you don't really care that much, but I think this is important. So let's do it slowly together. Any question? Yes.
Can it be another way around that the positron can be scattered into an electron?
Yes, I know, but I'm specifying that the particle leaving one is an electron.
Yeah, but I mean,
You may anticipate what I'm going to say, but that's not. So you may have already pre-studied the Feynman's paper, okay, but I'm not there yet. Okay, I'm specifying that an electron, right? As I said, an electron. I'm asking the question now whether an electron could be scattered into a negative energy state or not. And Pauli principle tells me that that's not okay. Do I make myself clear? This is most important, although it is simple, I know, but to fully understand Feynman's theory of positons. Of course, his theory of positons is just quantum field theory. It's the standard quantum field theory. Okay, so we need to have a good understanding of what the situation is conceptually. So everybody following me, raise your hand. You know why this is K0 bar is not appropriate. It's the wrong choice. But what's a good choice, I will tell you immediately.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
You mean Dirac interpret the Dirac-Sticks the
Field. All the negative energy state are field.
In the last class, you said maybe it will be some hole if excited by
Right, but there's no, such event, right? You are saying that before I said that if a photon with real energy interact with a negative energy electron and keep the electron out of the Dirac sea, and it will leave the hole, and I can interpret the hole as a positive, right? Yes. Yes. And, okay. Think for 10 minutes, for 10 seconds. What does that violate what I said here? Did I say anything? What I wrote here contradict what I said there? No. Maybe I will. Let me move on. Okay.
So it is a hole, so the active electron can locate to that position.
I'm sorry? This could be kicked into what? At most, you can say that this electron, suppose that there is already a hole somewhere, a negative energy state. The electron could move into that hole, right? But not for all energy, not all negative energy, right? The best you can do is you say that, oh, there exists one hole with some negative energy, and only that one is okay for me, but not any negative energy state, right? Very good. Okay, let's do it slowly. Okay, so that you will not forget. I can do this super fast. Okay, I could talk about time order operator, and I use quantum field theory to get to the Feynman propagator. I think some of you already knew. Okay, you just. Didn't tell me that, didn't say so, but I think the majority of you encounter such discussion the first time. So, is that okay? Because this is not okay, because the Dirac sea is all filled up. But in Dirac positron theory, the following process is possible. That is this is 1, 4, 3, 2. And this is electron. So this is the electron. This is the position. This is the electron. So suppose there is a positron already in existence. That is the Dirac sea. So the situation is that the Dirac sea already has certain hole in it, and an electron is moving above the Dirac sea. But it is possible that the electron will fall into the hole and emit some or interact with the electromagnetic field. It will emit some photon. And the interpretation is that that positron will meet with this electron. They meet each other. They annihilate each other. So the positron move from 3 to 4 and annihilate this E minus. And an electron move from 3 to 2. So let me say that again. So at space-time point 3, the A mu will influence the Dirac sea such that an electron-positron pair is created. And the electron moves from 3 to 2. And the positron moves from 3 to 4. And at the space-time point 4, this positron annihilates the incoming electron. Is that okay? Right, the physical process is transparent.
What is the time order?
Okay, so yeah, good question. So let's say that this is T4 is greater than T3, right? And here, T4 is less than T3. So, but in Dirac's positron theory, the following process is also possible. This is also possible, right? So Feynman said, with this process, Dirac said that this is possible. This process is allowed in Dirac's theory. But Feynman said that I can look at this process in the following way. That is, there is only one electron. It moves from 1 to 4. And it moves backward in time from 4 to 3, for which T4 is greater than T3. That is, it moves backward in time. So if you follow the electron is doing this. And between 4 to 3, it moves backward in time. And remember that here we'll be talking about negative energy state, reinterpreted as positive positron. So here, the phase vector will be exponential minus I E T 4 minus T3. And this I'm sorry. T3 minus T4. I will write, I will, okay, maybe I should. I'm sorry, okay, print, okay. Let me do. In this equation, so this is for 1 to 2, so this is T2 minus T1. And so here it's okay because T3, so it is T3 minus, so here the phase vector will be exponential minus IE and the T3 minus T4. And this is greater than 0, and this is greater than 0. So this is the normal situation, right? Now, when we come to this process, and if I interpret this process as an electron move backward in time, and I use the same phase vector as this, then and because maybe I should write out K0. Okay, let me write out K021, another K021. So that you will not be confused. I think you should be confused now. Okay, so let me compare two possible K. Okay, let me write out this K. A beta guess or a correct guess will be, this is K plus. I'm using Feynman's notation. Feynman called this K plus 21. It's defined in this way. Let me, for the moment, this I borrow from Schrödinger's equation, right? In which phi is only a single component wave function. So I better, because now phi is multi-component, it is a matrix, so I should use phi bar. Okay, that is phi adjoint gamma 0. I should use phi bar. But we shall see that, okay, the details will be clear in a moment. So this is exponential minus I E N T2 minus T1. This is for T2 greater than T1. As for the negative energy state, it will be minus sum over N, and phi N of x2, phi N bar of x1, e to the minus I E N T2 minus T1. This is for T2 less than T1. Okay, let me box it. think I should, before further discussion, let me remind you that this is the equation obeyed by the free propagator, right? Now, this equation has no unique solution, right? Because suppose that I have another solution. Let me call it K. Do I have a name for it? Let me call it K tilde. Suppose that this is this. So any solution which is of the form. So suppose that K0 is a solution to this. And then I add to that solution K tilde, in which K tilde obey this equation. And then let me call this K0 prime. So K0 prime also obey this equation, right? When I say that, let me remind you of that, because this you must have known when you study Green's function in your mathematical physics courses, right? Or in Jackson, classical dynamics, because you can choose your Green's function as retarded Green's function, advanced Green's function, half retarded, half advanced, or whatever combination. Remember that? I think this, not even in Jackson's, maybe in Griffith's, E and N, right? So, Green's function is not unique, right? Any question? So who follows me up to this point, raise your hand. So, if this is a solution, and why this is a solution? Because we know that, so I already showed so in the Schrödinger's case last time, right? Last Wednesday, right? So it is easy to check that this is a solution to that equation. But since K0 is not, the Green's function has no unique solution, you need to choose your boundary condition, or you need to use your physical intuition to select the solution, the good solution or the correct solution. So I said that a better guess actually turned out to be correct would be K0, a naive guess for K0 to 1. Okay, this is the first choice. And the second choice, K0 to 1 is equal to K plus 2 1, the so-called K plus 2 1. The notation was from Feynman's paper. And it is this. And why? So this is a solution. And why this is also a solution, I do not have time. Unfortunately, I'm too slow. Okay, I'm behind time. I will show that Wednesday. Okay, I will show you that the difference between these two. So suppose that K0 is a solution. It is a possible Green's function. And suppose that K0 prime is another possible Green's function. The difference between these two is the solution to this equation. And this will be called homogeneous. That is without the right hand side. Okay, when I say homogeneous, I mean without the right hand side. Oh, the free Dirac equation. Okay, so maybe you can see immediate. Okay, do some mental calculation. You can see that the difference between K0 bar and the K plus is a solution to the homogeneous equation. And this is the so-called inhomogeneous equation. Okay, but I will show that I do not have time. So let me, I will just finish the discussion, okay, in 1 minute. Then maybe have to wait till Wednesday to have a full discussion. So now suppose that T4 is greater than T3, then I have to use that, right? And the phase here is exponential minus E and T2 minus T1. So that is T3 minus T4, right? I'm just using that because when T3 is greater than T4, that's okay. But when T3 is less than T4, I should use that, right? If I use K plus, and now this is less than 0, this is also less than 0, I can write this as EX value T4 minus T3. And I will interpret this as a positron moves forward in time. It moves from 3 to 4. Okay? That's Feynman's brilliant idea. Of course, I already told you that last time that the idea was actually not Feynman's. It was originally due to Feynman's advisor, John Wheeler. But it was Feynman who put Feynman's Wheeler's idea, Wheeler's intuitive idea into good use. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm really behind time. But, okay, I will continue Wednesday. Any questions? Okay, see you Wednesday. No, 我没有说 propagation is time dependent, time independent。我是说，假设我的 potential 是 time independent， 我的 Hamiltonian 是 time independent， 那会比较简单一点，因为我的 phi n 是我的 component， 就是我的 Hamiltonian 是 time independent， 对不对？所以这个是 phi of x， 对。Yeah, okay. Yeah, so.
所以你这一个就是在做那个 calculation 这个
Yes.
你的 potential 应该可以写到意思，因为几度，所以你这样才能说明就是它可以用在那个 time dependent 的case，所以才能用后面那个电子体，所以这些都是可以实验，所以你才可以用后面。
不是，
我这样理解对。
Yeah. For the moment, let's deal with the simplest case that potential is time dependent. All the formula is still good. If you want to have time-dependent background EM field, it has nothing. Suppose you want to look at the most general case. Okay. It will not change whatever discussion we shall have in talking about the Dirac propagator.
But if this is a photon, it might be.
No. Let's not worry about photon yet. Okay.
Oh.
I'm just talking about the process intuitive.
So this is the
This is the A mu field. Of course, you might want to say that now is A mu just a function of x, or it could also be a function of t. Eventually, we could say that it can be a function of t. Okay, but the situation is that in the free propagator, because there is no A at all, there is no A.
样。
So never mind whether A is time dependent or not time dependent. The emphasis here is on the propagator for electrons. It has nothing to do with whether the background field is time dependent or not, right? So if you want to see the most general formula in which A is also time dependent, yes, of course, the formula we have still works. Okay, but my emphasis now is on the electron propagator.
直接用那个
And since it is free,
就是展
never mind because there's no A
展
at
现
all.
这样，就是他们好像都是
Okay.
直接
OK，
If you look at the equation itself, right, I
A
A slash minus
可以
A
跟
K
要要要
delta. Okay, you might want to say
有
that
些
A
说
could
这
be
样比较
time
方便，因为
dependent.
它现在都是这样子的，它现在都是你要在这
Yes,
边
A could
我
be
的意
time
思是，如果
dependent.
我
So
我跟你讲温度，
so the equation, the solution I
你也可
wrote
以直
down
接
also applies for
气到这里的话，可
time
能会
dependent. Yes.
知道看不到，所以我想说就是
哦，其实我一般都看得到，
But
只是
because I'm just looking
也
at
是可以直
these
接要
three
提的
case,
啊。如果你比较
and
喜
these
欢
are all
一般一
solution
样的话，
to derive the equation without
那
any
个这
A
样子
like
热
that.
倾向。
So
So the conclusion is
Okay.
the integral,
嗯，
the integral style of this
并没有对不对？谢谢。
apply also suitable in the time dependent.
But in our
Equation will still not coverage this
because
kind of
okay, the so-called perturbation is that you just look at the simplest situation that is no interaction at all.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you build up your solution step by step. Okay, and so that's the good and bad of the approach. That is, you begins with free propagator. At least you can do some calculation because you have K0. We need to know what that is explicitly. We need to work that out explicitly. Okay, and
我可以大概
and so that is the main subject. Main goal we want to know. That is the main
OK 好，谢谢。
object. That is the main object we need to work out.
不好意思。
不会不会。
Read books, read paper, read book. Okay. Feynman's paper or book is so much better than what I can give you. Can you
嗯，应该可以啊。
可以
刚好测试过，声音好像是可以的。对对。
考虑那个